Chris Ferguson here with MediSweet Herbals, and we are starting a series for this summer called Making Herbal Remedies. And today's tutorial that I'd like to talk to you about is on making fresh herbal teas, or they're also called infusions. So the difference in a tea that is a medicinal tea or a food tea is the amount. This tea here, it's a lemon tea, comes in a tea bag like this. It only has about a third to a half of the amount that you would use if you wanted it for medicinal reasons. For instance, if you wanted to use this for weight loss. Lemon has been a traditional aid in weight loss because it's a diuretic, and it also helps with the appetite. So if I was going to use a tea like this, which is perfectly acceptable, I would use at least 2 tea bags per cup, perhaps 3, maybe 4, just to get the medicinal amount of the tea. You can also use loose teas, like for instance this skullcap herb. All it is just the plant that's just been cut in pieces and dried until it's crispy crunchy. That's a dry tea. That's what you would make into a tea or infusion. You can also use a fresh herb like this purslane that I picked out front. And if you use a fresh herb, you would need to use 2 times the amount, and that's due to the water content that it has in this. You kind of have to make room for the water. And so if you're using a loose tea for a medicinal amount, you would use 1 to 2 tablespoons per pint of water. And this is a pint jar that I use to measure in. For this one, you would need to use about 2 to 4 tablespoons if you cut this up and stuck it in your jar to make a tea or an infusion. A lot of us don't have the fancy teapots like this one. I really like this one. I use it a lot. It has a strainer. You put the herbs in there, and then you pour the water over the top, and it strains it automatically for you. However, if you don't, I like the pint jar method. I'll make the tea in this, and then I'll use a kitchen strainer and just strain it out into my cup. A lot of times if I make a medicinal tea, I'll put it in a quart jar. I will double the amount and make a whole quart and then store it in the refrigerator. And herbs are good for about 4 to 5 days. I don't know that I would keep it in there longer than that, and you ought to be drinking this. You should be drinking at least 3/4 of this jar a day if you're using it for medicinal purposes. So I would put my herbs into the jar, and sometimes I'll add ginger or lemon just to disguise the flavor, because a lot of teas are kind of vegetable-y in nature. Most of them don't taste bad. I mean, there's 1 or 2 particular herbs that really don't taste that good. But the others, you can pretty much disguise them with things like this. So I would put my herbs in the jar, I would add my water, and then I'd let it steep for 3 to 5 minutes. You don't want to add the herbs to the water and boil the herbs, because that would allow too much to be lost, especially with herbs like peppermint, where you have a lot of volatile oils. You don't want it going up into your steam and losing that. You want to try and keep it in your jar. So put the herbs in first, pour the water on top, let it steep for 3 to 5 minutes, and then strain it out. And then you can add honey or stevia to that just to make it taste good. So that is a quick tutorial on how to make an herbal tea or an infusion. And if you have any questions or comments, you can comment in the little box below this YouTube video. Let me know what you think if you have any questions. Once again, I'm Chris Ferguson with MediSweet Herbals, and here's to your health.